And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell Blanken, R. Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. Tyler, it is Sunday, March 20th, 2022. How are you on this beautiful Arizona day?
Brad, you took my adjective. I swear, I was just about to say it's a beautiful Sunday in the neighborhood. I am doing quite well, man. It's been a really, really nice weekend. How are you? You are finishing up your spring break.
Yes. Unfortunately, it was only a week long. I could have used 1 or 10 more. But yeah, really, I'm excited to see the kids, excited to go back to school, get to see their faces. I went to the mailbox not too long ago because I didn't get the mail yesterday, and it started raining on me. It's a little bit cloudy, getting a little bit of rain, high of 68 today. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love this time of year out here. It's not, I don't have to shovel anything. It's not any chance of ice and snow on the road. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
Very early hot take. I would argue no music needed for this one though. Later. I would argue March. I mean, for me, it's between March and October for what are the best months of weather in Arizona.
Agreed.
I don't know, man. It's kind of 50-50 for me. I don't know which one I would choose because October is glorious because we're leaving summer. I think I lean October, but March is a close second for me.
Yeah, it's a good point because March is that time of expectation. We're heading into. I don't feel like we're in the new year until we're in spring. Once we're spring, by the way, I think today is the
first day of spring.
First day of spring today. So until we're in the first days of spring, I don't feel like it's a new year. Now it's that season of renewal and literal rebirth. We have trees pollinating everywhere. It's going to be allergy city here in the next couple of weeks, but it's I think I lean October as well because thank God it's not as hot. But I do vividly remember end of October, maybe middle of October, it might have been the 20s, going to a U of A football game and sitting on the wrong side of the stands and catching the sun. That day, for some reason, it was 98 degrees in Tucson, Arizona in the later part of October, mid to later part of October, which is just absurd. So I will take this 68 degrees stuff.
Yeah,
but I got to ask you, man, you had a big week this week. How are you feeling after your big week?
Yes, yeah, really, really big week. I appreciate you asking. I don't think we've mentioned this on air. So I started a new job. I'm working at Arizona State University, which thank you. So not needed, but I appreciate your applause, my guy.
No, it's amazing. It's so good.
I started at ASU, which is already a trip. One, because I'm just grateful to be in this position, but secondly, because it's the rival school from the school I attended during undergrad. So it's weird to be on campus and see the maroon and gold, I believe, are the official school colors of Arizona State. But I'm working at their teachers' college, so I'm out of the classroom. I'm an undergraduate student recruiter or student recruitment coordinator, same title, same job basically. But I'm working with getting students to apply to the university who want to become teachers. So kind of recruiting that next generation or that next crop of educators, which is very exciting. And the week was a trip, Brad. I don't know about you, but starting out at a new job, although exhilarating, it's stressful, man. Going through the HR stuff, trying to meet people and remember names and just, feel confident about what you're doing right off the bat. It's an adjustment, but I know I confided in you when deliberating on this decision and just trying to figure out timing and am I ready to take this leap of faith, so on and so forth. So very long story long. It was a good week. It ended really well. I really enjoyed my supervisor. I got to get to know her on a more personal level. Some of the team went out to lunch and they treated me. And I actually have a colleague who's my counterpart, and he and I just really hit it off. He loves hip hop.
Great.
He's actually like a budding recording hip hop artist, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and his music's actually really good. And he also loves hoops. So we were talking about the Suns and talking
awesome.
about Mac Miller. And I was just like, I'm going to follow this dude on Twitter. And now we have, a developing friendship that I think will go beyond the office. So, yeah, man, I feel very blessed. I feel so appreciative for you, of course, for my wonderful family. Shout out to my parents. And, man, I don't know, just everyone in my life who reached out, whether that was a Facebook comment or a Twitter comment or sent me a text. Sometimes I think about that Jon Moxley promo from weeks and weeks ago, maybe months ago at this point, when he returned and he said, during life, when these good moments happen, sometimes you don't feel worthy of it. Like, what did I do to deserve, in his case, this life? And sometimes I feel that way when I post something about, a life announcement or something good happening. And I'm thinking, okay, if this gets like 20 likes, that'd be awesome. I know people support me. But then somehow, like a handful of comments start popping up. Like, oh man, so proud of you. Congrats, bro. Blah, blah, blah. And I just think like, wow, I'm so fortunate. So I'm going to stop talking there, Brad, because we got wrestling to dive into. But yeah, man, the week was good. Although I won't have any formal spring breaks anymore, I am a bit envious of you for that, I will admit. I am just really eager to see where this takes me. I am interested in furthering my own education, maybe getting my master's, maybe awesome. Ultimately going back into the classroom in some form or fashion. So I'm so grateful and so excited to see what's to come this year and for the years after. So I appreciate you, everyone listening. I appreciate you for listening and for being here. And man, I'm just so excited for both of us and so excited for the future for both of us.
Yeah, I agree. Future looks bright. Future looks a lot brighter, I should say. Nobody's going to know what your journey was like. Nobody's going to know.
A little peek behind the curtain. It was tough,
until you decide to tell your story, maybe on a future episode here, or on another one of the podcasts that if we get invited to in 19 Media to do a dive into what this last year has been like. Wow, a lot of changes for both of us.
Yes, yes,
absolutely crazy. But I am ready. There was still pro wrestling this weekend. There was a lot of it. So let's get to question one.
Yeah, let's do it. I guess I kick it off. Okay. My soliloquy's done, so now I'm ready. Look at this background. Shout out to us. If you are only listening to the pod right now, we highly encourage you to check out the video. Brad, you are a virtuoso with this. Okay, I'm done putting us over.
I feel like I can't see us very well. Maybe I'm not happy with this one.
I love the colors, though.
We're going to go this way. All right.
I love that.
All right.
Brad, my first question for you. Obviously, we come into our recordings never knowing what we're going to ask each other. I have a strong feeling you know what is coming your way, so I will get right into it. I'm going to cut to the chase, my man. How far did the main event of Dynamite exceed your expectations? Thunder Rosa defeated Britt Baker to become the new AEW Women's World Champion in her adopted hometown of San Antonio, Texas. The entrances, the match, the post-match. How far did this exceed your expectations, my friend?
Well, I'm still waiting for them to do a match in the graveyards of Tijuana. I don't know if it exceeded my expectations at all.
Wow.
As a match, this is what I said would work. It's as expected. I expected this to be good because it's in their wheelhouse. When they've done pure wrestling matches, they just seem to not have very good. I don't know if chemistry is the right word for when they're wrestling together, or if it's just because so many changes happened to the match last second, or if it's because when there's a lot of people in the ring at the same time, it becomes more challenging. I don't know what it is, but that lights out match last year was incredible. I mean, it was incredible. So I knew if you give them the same kind of rope to use, they're not going to hang themselves with it in this circumstance. So my expectations were pretty high for this, given what had preceded it, though. I think I can safely say it exceeded my expectations. But I expected a really good match. It was one of the best matches of the year. and it was at least women's matches, and it was great. I thought it delivered in all facets. I thought Thunder Rosa's entrance was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she had way too much stuff on. Like just way too much stuff.
Yeah.
She had at least 2 different flags, a huge jacket, and a sombrero that she barely made into the audience. I feel like we could do a segment on how bad that throw was. Yeah. But at least it made it.
It did.
Where I was a little distracted. I will say this. I loved the ending, the finish to this match. Except there were parts of it I hated. I had to watch again. I wanted to watch the match again because I was like, man, this is so good. I wanted to go back and see if I missed anything. And I liked it better the second time around, except the very end where Britt got powerbombed onto thumbtacks and no-sold it.
Great
rolled out
great
of the ring.
powerbomb, by the way.
It was, but she no-sold it, rolled out of the ring and grabbed a chair.
Right, yes.
And it was like, how are you just getting up like that? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And it was pretty clear that they were going to go over time. And then I think they were trying to get there in enough time to make sure the match finished and we get to see Thunder Rosa have her hand raised. That's the only thing that I thought was like, oh man, they could have done that better. But it seemed like they were running out of time. Otherwise, I thought the match was perfect for what it was. I thought it was funny that Britt was trying to escape, even though there's no rule where like the first one out wins the match. Mm-hmm. So commentary brought that up, and I thought that was great. The reason I thought it was great, it was because, well, all that did was make it look like Britt doesn't want to get her ass kicked. It has nothing to do with her winning the match. She just doesn't want to get beat up. So that's why she's trying to get out. And I thought that was kind of a cool touch. The grinding of the face into the cage.
Yes.
The
brutal.
Just absolutely brutal. The thumbtack stuff. Man, it didn't disappoint, I'll put it that way. And I thought it was one of the best matches of the year, certainly in the women's division. I keep forgetting timeline-wise, but Paige and Danielson were this year. We've had some really, really good matches outside of this, but this has to be in that conversation for one of the best matches of the year. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker in a hardcore match is kind of required. In a regular wrestling match, for whatever reason, I've never liked their chemistry in the ring. Put them in a hardcore match, and they're the best duo to go head to head in most of wrestling. I feel like I don't know how else to describe it, but I know you have different thoughts than I do on this. Tyler, what were your thoughts on the match?
Oh, I loved it. I think you're spot on with the observation about Britt no selling the power bomb on the tacks, because I thought that could have been the finish personally. When you get when you get power bomb the way Britt was, I mean, I wouldn't have a huge issue with that being that leading directly to the 1, 2, 3. But yeah, that's a great point, man. I really love the entrances. I think and frankly, I think you agree with me that we are a sucker for entrances. Like, give me a good entrance and I'm sold. And I'm going to watch it.
And ring gear.
Yes,
I failed to mention Britt's ring gear.
Yes.
Britt's ring gear. Shout out to Scott Hall. Rest in peace.
Yes, absolutely.
So good.
Great call.
So good.
Yeah, it's really the whole package for me. I'm not sure how I would compare this to their original Lights Out match, because that was, I don't know if iconic is the right word to use because it was only a year ago. But this one really delivered. It exceeded my expectations, bro. And I just love Thunder Rosa getting her moment. And I think big things are in store for her title reign. I'm super intrigued. I'm glad Britt sort of did the honors, if you will, and passed the belt over to her. I'm curious, frankly, to see where Britt goes as well. I think a Britt versus Hater feud is going to rule. And for Thunder Rosa, on kind of the opposite though, for Thunder Rosa, I love that we don't know who her opponent's going to be. I don't know about you, Brad. Please jump in, but I don't see a direct. Okay, this is definitely who Thunder Rosa is going to face at Double or Nothing.
I have no idea who it's going to be. The only thing I can think is it's got to be Ruby at some point. I don't know where Ruby is. I don't know if she's hurt. I don't know if she's been on Dark. I haven't watched Dark in a couple of weeks. So I really don't know. I'm really hoping that we get Thunder Rosa versus Ruby Soho, or Thunder Rosa versus Athena, or Thunder Rosa. I'm trying to think of who else is on the roster, but I really want to see Thunder Rosa fight everybody at this point.
Yeah. I think we can all agree to that one. Yes.
I actually think Thunder Rosa Shida or Thunder Rosa Riho would be great, because we've seen Thunder Rosa versus Shida when she was champ. They were both champ. It was that champ match, the NWA title versus the women's title.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that was great too, and I would love to see that again. I want to see. Oh, this okay. So this is something that I didn't quite get there on one of the questions, but I really wanted to ask you, because you haven't. I don't know if you have any idea what DDT is, or the partnership AEW just landed with DDT.
No.
So DDT is an offshoot of what is it? Total. I think it's Total Japan, or Top Japan, or something. There's let me look it up. TJPW, because I'm not familiar with this. Oh, that's why it's Tokyo Joshi. So Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling and DDT, which is sort of their, I guess the easiest comp is NXT to Tokyo Joshi.
Yes.
Just made a partnership with AEW to do a talent share. So we're basically going to get Joshi Wrestling doing a talent share with AEW, which means that we're going to have like this wide open talent pool of more women's wrestlers. I think that could be really good. Or it could be really not good, depending on how it goes. But I'm excited about it, because it means that we're going to see other wrestlers coming in and out of the company to do challenges that maybe we're not familiar with, that are going to force some of the other wrestlers to work strong style. And I love New Japan. I love watching strong style wrestling. For those of you that don't know what it is, just look up strong style wrestling and go to YouTube. Look it up. I encourage you to watch any of it. Watch anything from New Japan. Watch anything Okada or Tanahashi related, and you won't be disappointed. Like, I am stoked that Mox is going to fight Will Ospreay. If you like what Bryan Danielson does in the ring, then you'll like this other stuff. You just will. It's amazing. I know this is a Kenny Omega deal, so we'll see. We'll see what happens here, but I'm excited about the prospect. So hopefully Thunder Rosa's fighting people from there, because I know she'll work to what they want them to work, and there's going to be some beating the piss out of each other matches in the future, because Thunder Rosa likes to work. It appears she likes to work stiff, because you like. Oof, those drop kicks, I would not want to be on the business end of one of those.
And the Thunder Driver, the finisher,
onto the thumbtacks.
As we say often here at GI, wrestling is in a very healthy place. I'm excited for everything you mentioned, bro. I'll have to do my research. You are definitely more worldly and well-rounded when it comes to the promotions across the pond. So I'm stoked.
I just had to look up the name of a company, so I'm not that well-rounded.
I think they made a partnership
with. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Right on. I'm ready.
Right,
I'm ready for your question, bro. Let's get it.
All right, let's do it. Question number 1. I moved this from question 2,
Okay.
simply because it fits more in line with what we've been doing, with what you just asked me. So, Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, they had a great match. I really liked the last 5, especially the finish was great. Yet there was a lot of online criticism, not of the match, but those thumbtacks are fake, or why are you bleeding so much stuff came out. So in January, WWE issued that statement, and I believe it was after the tag match with Ty and Anna Jay against Bunny and Penelope Ford.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it was, and I quote, this is from their statement: if you look at that, if you look at the gory self-mutilation that bloodies several women in the December 31st event on TNT, it quickly becomes clear that these are very different businesses. So given WWE's history, especially considering they also own the library of ECW, does commentary from WWE about this stuff carry more weight, or is it hypocritical? It's not an easy one.
I was gonna say, is there an option C? Is there a letter C? I wouldn't say. To be honest with you, I don't know that I would say it's an A or a B. I would add a letter C, that it's just. I don't think it's hypocritical on their part, but I don't think it's. necessarily been validated. I think when AEW was originally, and probably still is, promoted as an alternative, this is what I think of, is that it does have it does have a feel of ECW. The lights out match, the hardcore match that you brought up, that led to these comments from WWE. I just think AEW does this because they know there's an audience for it, and WWE clearly is trying to appeal to a younger demographic, whereas AEW is not. So I know we tend to share our constructive feelings about WWE on here, but I don't know if I would say it's critical, bro. I just think they're going for two different audiences, and I'm not particularly upset with WWE sort of throwing shade on AEW. Like, look at these people. This is so lowbrow, while we're the company that puts smiles on people's faces. Certainly, you and I love different aspects of both companies, but I just think they're in two different avenues, and I have no problem with companies being petty toward each other. I in fact, find it a bit entertaining. How about you, though? Do you think it's hypocritical on their part?
A little bit. Here's why. It's not because of them saying anything about the blood. I don't care about that. I like them taking shots at each other. I think it's entertaining. I like that they've given each company, AEW much more so, because there's no creative team. But WWE taking shots and using names and that kind of stuff in their promos, especially people that have had feuds with other characters. Seth Rollins saying John Moxley. That kind of stuff. Right. Or somebody saying Brody Lee.
Right.
In WWE. I think that's awesome. I love that stuff. I think back to Taz at the beginning of the pandemic when Mox got sick because Renee got COVID while working at WWE, and Taz coming on commentary calling them a sloppy shop, saying we don't run a sloppy shop. I loved that. Yeah. I don't know why I do, but like, it's so long ago.
Yeah, it's kind of random. Like, I remember exactly. I can see his face, Taz's face,
getting close to the camera. We don't run a sloppy
with
shop, and then backing up.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes. And the hat. I think.
Can't wait for that figure. Can't wait for that figure to come out. By the way,
it's gonna be great.
We'll get to figures later, but I think that's a must purchase for me.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will. Okay. Sooner than you think, my friend. Sooner than you think.
Okay. Well, maybe I don't have a part one to my third question then. We might be getting there soon. Okay. So to answer your question, though, or I guess to answer mine, it's Jesus. I don't think they're hypocritical in the sense of telling one company not to do that. It's just, why issue a statement at all if you are two very different businesses criticizing blading and bloodletting when you say we're not competing?
Right.
It doesn't.
Right.
Having part of the statement say we're totally different businesses doesn't make any sense if you're going in there like you are the same business. So which one is it? So that's the thing. They're contradicting themselves. Because listen, man, I'm so down on the WWE right now. I just like their product kind of sucks. They have all this talent. Mm-hmm. At least, I guess, Alexa Bliss is on the premises somewhere doing something right now, which yay. But the fact that she's had like one match, I think it was at, was it Elimination Chamber? She was in Elimination Chamber and never to be seen from again. She came back from therapy, was awesome in that match, and is apparently in therapy again. I don't know where she is.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think that's completely accurate.
And how do you just have her on the shelf? I mean, my Lord. So it's stuff like that. And Bianca is apparently hurt and was pulled from cars.
I saw that online.
So I don't know what's going on.
I assumed that was a work. It's not?
I would imagine it is, but it sounded like, I don't know. Becky tweeted out, well, Bianca went and got herself hurt. So it sounded like, because she got pulled out from doing some fan stuff. So for all I know, she got COVID and had to stay home, and they're just making it a work. I don't know. Or she just had family emergency. Who the hell knows? That's the thing with them, is you never really can tell.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating when everybody knows. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time. It's like, we know you're acting. We know you're not these people. Right. You're those people turned up to 11.
Yes.
Like, you can't get mad at people reporting incorrect information when you're feeding it to them.
Right.
Like it's yeah. Anyway,
Well,
go ahead.
your original question, I just want to say this before we move forward. Your original question makes me think of a segment that I wasn't going to ask you about, but since we're here, what you were saying makes me think of the difference between WWE promoting themselves as a sports entertainment company versus AEW really leaning into being the home of professional wrestling. So
unless you're a heel faction,
I was just about to say,
yeah.
as I was listening to you and processing my own thoughts over here in Glendale, I was thus thinking about the Jericho Appreciation Society and how much I don't know if I despise it. I don't know if I think it's entertaining. Obviously, pun intended. I'm not. I think I need to wait and see, man. I did not expect this, but again, I think this points to Jericho being so astute at reinventing himself. He's got the new look. He looks like a soccer mom from the suburbs.
Yes, he does.
And he is adopting Daniel Garcia. So if this leads to Daniel Garcia getting more airtime and 2.0, frankly, because that guy, I never remember his name with the long hair. Matt.
Yeah.
Brad, this guy is probably in my top 5 favorite AEW talents. Anytime he's on the screen and speaks.
The eyes, man.
Yes.
The eyes, the giant eyes.
It's
you got a problem?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's always at this pitch.
Yes.
He's the closest thing.
Great impression.
He's the closest thing we have to Randy Savage.
Thank you.
On the mic.
The whole presentation, like you
the
just
mannerisms,
the cadence,
cut down, the arms, everything.
It's
all of it.
It pops me every time.
He's got the weird finger things when he talks. It's totally savage.
Yes.
It's like he's doing rock and roll, but he's not. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's so. Every time I see it, I
didn't think about that. You're absolutely spot on. It is this.
Yeah. And it's a chop down, and it's always the hunch in.
Yes.
It's like, I'm going to tell you about what I want to, and I'm going to make my eyes really crazy, and I'm going to bring my arm down and over, and only up and down and side to side, and that's all he could do. And it's so robotic and perfect. Everything about it is so good. It's so good. Give him, oh man, I must feel like I killed you here. I want it all the time in my life. When he's on my screen, my world is
I'm
better.
gonna mute.
Oh man, I feel like maybe we should really let Tyler shine here, but I can't figure out how to give him the camera. It's just me as he's muted. It's so good. It's so good. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Oh, no, you figured it out. You figured it out. I didn't think you were going to. Man, I think I'm on the back end of this. I'm coming down from it. Your impression,
okay. All right.
Your impression was great. I did not expect that. I'm a huge mark for that guy. You said his name is Matt. Matt Lee? Did he change it on Wednesday?
Matt Lee, yeah.
Okay. I love that dude so much.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so good. So good. Yeah, man. More on the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Yes.
I'm with you. There's no reason that I should like any of this at all, and I think it's perfect.
I don't hate it. I don't think I hate it.
I'm actively going. I want to boo them.
Yeah.
That's the goal, man. Like that's the goal. Getting me to hate those guys more. I'm enticed by the prospect that maybe Jericho at some point calls him old squarehead or blockhead or whatever he was doing to make him. Here's the thing. I don't understand how that turned into like appreciation after they actively feuded for months.
Yeah.
They better explain that stuff.
Right.
Like I better hear something about that at some point or I'm going to feel like really let down. But otherwise I think it's great. But I know what else will be great beside you regathering yourself. I'm excited for this week's hot take tie. So whenever you're ready, take us away.
And now it's time for hot take time. Spicy.
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Brad, there are many tough parts about growing up. There are exciting parts as well, such as, landing jobs and finding hobbies that make you happy and finding life partners, raising a beautiful daughter, right? We know these things. There's also some tough aspects about growing up. You have to pay taxes. You have to find a job, and thus you have to pay bills, so on and so forth. However, I would argue something that is incredibly difficult about growing up that is not discussed often enough is how you navigate being a collector of action figures while still operating as a grown-ass man. And the reason I bring this to you, Brad, because I did not have this planned for several days. This is about 24 hours it's been on my mind. We are in a group chat or a Twitter message, whatever they call it, with a gentleman named Mike Steff, who we've mentioned on the pod before. He's an awesome dude, such a fantastic supporter of GI. Mike, if you're listening, we appreciate you a ton, my man. I don't think we tell you that enough. He's at Mike Steffens on Twitter. Mike Steffens _ actually on Twitter. Great dude. And we'll often chop it up in the DMs about AEW, WWE, just wrestling talk and family talk, right? Everything. Mm-hmm. But yesterday, Brad, we got on the subject of action figures and collectibles. I believe how we got there is I sent you and Mike a photo of a recent pop figure that I purchased.
Big time Bex.
Yes, big time Bex. And I'm going to pass it to you in a moment, so I hope you're ready. I thought I was just going to get a thumbs up from both of you or maybe a simultaneous fire emoji. But you chose violence yesterday, my friend. And I have the receipts here. I can pull it up.
I was pulling.
Yeah, I know you are. I can see it. I can see it. At 19 Media Group on YouTube. Please check out the video portion every week. You brought up some very valid points. What I want to highlight before I turn it over to you is that you used the words. You said, "Hey, dude, like great purchase." Obviously, you're a fellow figure collector as well. But you said, and I quote, "The more I think about it, the more I worry these collectibles, these Funkos in particular." And I want to hear if you're speaking specifically about Pops. You said, and I quote, "They are women repellent." And I'm quoting you. And if I were younger and single, if I was at that point in my life, I would worry that this is going to be a repellent amongst women, amongst having a future spouse.
Jesus.
And
wow.
Well,
hold on a second.
No,
now.
this is exactly what happened, and I'm going to pass it to you so you can explain yourself.
Okay, let me direct quote this then instead of the paraphrase and Phil shit you were just doing. The lies you just told. I said, love those things, but not sure what I'd do with them if I were younger and single. That part is true. I didn't say
directly on the nose. Directly on the nose. Okay.
They seem like absolute women repellent. And then
That's
you
what I said.
you absolutely caught a stray.
Yes, I did.
Nuclear Pop. And then I said, I quote, "What do you spend your money on?" This is a woman's voice. And then glow-in-the-dark Batman and Superman 2-pack and a large Wedge Antilles in a snowspeeder. Yeah. Listen, man, those last two are on my desk in my classroom. I have 2 glow-in-the-dark Batman and Superman on clearance from Walmart, I believe $6.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And a large Wedge Antilles snowspeeder. And you know what? If anybody ever goes like, "Why do you have all those?" I go, "Hey, I got a kid." That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say I got a kid. I bought those for my wife, and she thought they were stupid. So now they're here at all the Friends Funko Pops on my desk.
So just lie. Yeah, just lie too.
Straight up, all the time.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what this could easily be a someday when you have kids? It's the out, man. Having kids is an out.
Okay, so for those of us who are at a different point in our lives,
mm-hmm.
say maybe in their 20s,
Almost 30.
single.
I want to put it that way.
And also enjoy collecting and probably spend too much money on it. What is your advice to us? Do we just stop collecting?
No.
Or do we just lie when people ask us? Potentially prospective partners when they ask us about this. Oh, it's for my niece, or it's for...
No, you don't lie to the people that you love. You lie to other people. You lie to people that you know, not love. Like,
there's a difference. Okay.
Oh, there's a huge
Two
difference.
different camps.
If you're your friends that aren't like your best friends, they're not your family. Like Tyler, I would consider you family. I would not lie to you about this stuff. I would straight up go like, yeah, I don't want to do it. I would just tell you I don't want to do something. But if there's somebody like, hey, we're having a couple people over. We're gonna watch this basketball game I know you don't care about, and we're gonna have some drinks, and it's gonna take forever and not be that good. Do you want to come over and hang out? That's not what I get invited to. It's what I hear when I'm invited to certain things, and I go, shit, I got a kid, and I don't even elaborate. I just say it.
And you got to respect it.
Yeah, you can't. What are you gonna say? Like, no, you don't. Like, you can't come back from that. It's like somebody tells you bleep you. Like, bleep me. I can't do anything about that. All I can do is bleep you back, and that's not good at that point. So it's a nuclear option, but I use it a lot. I use it all the time.
That's that's pretty cagey of you. I don't hate it.
Okay, but the toy thing. So this is the thing.
Yes.
You can call them figures. You can call them collectibles. You have toys, and you are an adult with toys. So here's the thing. Like, if you started dating somebody, let me put this the other way. You started dating somebody. It's going well. You've been on a few dates, and it's you're in their part of town, and you're driving with them. Maybe you're dropping them off, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to come up and watch a movie?" Which is code for sex. But we're gonna go inside. We're gonna go watch a movie. So you head upstairs
on fire
into the apartment. You're going to watch a film on Netflix, and perhaps you will chill. And you're upstairs, and you walk in, and it's this really nice apartment. You get into the living room, you sit down, and on the shelf are 250 Barbie dolls in boxes. What is your reaction? Or no, better yet, trolls. Troll figures from the 90s. Perfectly groomed and combed hair, all straight up. Thousands of dollars worth of trolls. Are you like, oh, that's cool. You're into collecting too. Or are you going, oh, dear God, now I know why you're single. Which one of those two things is it?
The former.
Okay.
Why does it have to be trolls though? That's very specific and very concerning. If it was trolls, I might be concerned, but I'm gonna go the former, not the latter. It makes me happier to think that I would choose that.
I guess it's not a good comp. I think.
Luckily, Jess doesn't have a trolls collection.
No, not anymore. We made her sell it. Like, I don't know what
marriage.
Comp. Yeah. I don't know if there's a comp for that. Like, I still have baseball cards, but they're in a box in storage. They're not prominently displayed in my home. So, like,
I don't know that collecting is just a male thing. That seems like too much of a stereotype.
Absolutely not. But like, collecting comes in all forms, and I'm glad we're talking about this. I would rather talk about this today. Okay, so I will buy crap I don't need. I got wrestling figures up here. Some were gifted, and a belt. Gifted. I got Dr. Britt Baker. I have a signed copy of the Young Bucks book right here.
Yep.
I have a bunch of wrestling stuff. None of it I bought when I was a kid. All of it I bought within the last 2 years. All of it. I think I didn't want to lose it. Like, in my pocket right now is my Fiend mask from early in the pandemic.
In the pocket.
In the pocket.
You can never lose it again.
Well, no, it was underneath a book or something. I was like, what the hell is this doing in here? Freya was probably wearing it or something. So I want to put it somewhere where if I need a mask, I can just quickly grab something. Like if I'm working landscaping in the backyard and it's dusty as hell. Yeah. So Jess gets on these runs where she go and buy a ton of clothes, like just a ton. Usually at Goodwill or someplace, but she always goes in there and finds clothes that still have tags on them, because women tend to just buy clothes, go, maybe not, and give it away for free. And like never wear it. It's just there, and she'll buy it, but then she'll do the same thing. It's like, I just went through all my t-shirts, all my clothes, stuff I've owned for years and years and years, and get rid of a lot of it. I haven't worn this shirt in a long time. I'm getting rid of this thing.
Absolutely.
She does this once a year and has twice as big of a pile, and I don't understand where all these clothes come from. So I know that collecting just looks different. For us, it's like we're going to get all this decor for the house that may or may not work out. It's just shit in the house now. And if I'm like, oh, we should get something like this would look really cool on the wall. Get one of those. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'll go just F off into the garage then. But I don't know that anybody in my life has a collection except my mom. They're all in bins. She worked at a candy store that sold Beanie Babies.
Oh,
so
I remember those.
She's got like the Princess die in the box in the protective case.
That's worth some coin.
There's a couple of different versions. It's kind of like getting an error card in card collectibles, or having that Mark Jackson card where the Menendez brothers are sitting courtside right before they got arrested, but after they murdered their parents. That card is pretty worthless, but it's a cool card. Mm-hmm. But getting the Michael Jordan card where he's in the background of another player that same year, I don't remember what player it was, but he's wearing his 45 jersey in the background. That's awesome. It's stuff like that where you're like, oh, cool, but there's two different Princess dies. It's where they effed up the tag, and then one where they didn't. And one of them is worth like $20, and one of them was worth like 15 grand. So it just depends. I do not believe we have the 15 grand Princess die. But the point is, no, I don't. Of course women collect. Like, yeah, of course women collect. Like, women are women, man.
My takeaway from this segment is your advice is put it in bins.
Hide that shit, man. Like,
okay, got it.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Ultimately, you're going to have to take it out of the bin. So I guess it's up to you. Women, if you were listening, and I don't know that you are, if you are listening,
I think there are 3.
Yeah,
Gail,
like 3
Gail
confirmed women that are
Thorburton,
listening.
former guest, great friend of GI, Jess, and I'm not even sure my mother listens. Maybe there's a third woman.
My mom starts to listen and then usually shuts.
Your
it
mother,
off.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's about it. And Jess is a 20% maybe chance that she's going to listen to this.
Let's round it to 5.
It.
If we have at least 5 women,
okay.
I think that's progress. Hopefully there are 2 other women out there somewhere.
Yeah. Not progress for women.
Baby steps for us.
As we have a segment here dedicated to trying to figure them out in their collections, as though they're totally different than the men in our lives. I don't know, man. Like, women, if you're listening, or if you know women in your life, and if you're listening, you might not. Let's be honest. Tell us what you're collecting. I want to know what you're collecting. I also want to know what advice you have for Tyler, for the women in the life that are going to come over and be like, oh, cool. Is that Firefly Funhouse Fiend? I don't know if that happens. You know you're going to have to get them on board with wrestling. That you're going to have to. You have to be with a wrestling fan.
This is something I think about often. Yes.
And that's the thing. It's like, what if you date somebody that is a huge Star Wars fan, and they come into your house and you're like, yeah, this is my custom-made bounty hunter armor. Would you like to see me put it on? Because I have people in my life that have that stuff. I love Star Wars. I know practically everything there is to know about it. If it's on film or in a video game, I probably know about it. I might have forgotten a lot of it, but I probably know about it. I know Alan does Blipped In, the MCU. I know a lot of comic book stuff. I know a lot of Marvel. I know a ton of that. I don't have shit when it comes to collectibles lying around my house. I think if I date somebody who's like, oh yeah, I really like Star Wars, and they come in and they see my like full, like giant $800 Star Destroyer Lego set up like above my stove on top of the countertops, and it's just Star Wars merch all over the place. I don't know that ends well.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is a topic we're going to revisit.
Oh, it's happening
at some later point in G. I don't think this is going away, but this is one of my favorite hot take segments to date, man. I appreciate your thoughts on this. We will have to return here.
I'm writing down in my notes right now 10 minutes of collectible bull stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
I like this.
I love it. I think I'm ready to ask you my second question.
Cool. We're only 45 minutes in.
There we go.
Okay.
No time to spare. So, a second match that you and I, and probably just IWC as a whole, frankly, were really excited about on this week's Dynamite was the TNT title match between top contender Wardlow, face of the Revolution, Wardlow, and facing the TNT champ Scorpio Sky. Two-part question here for you, Brad. Scorpio retained via a lot of nefarious means in this match. First question, was this just a complete misuse of Wardlow? Did anyone come away from this match looking better because of it? Question number one. Question number two, who would you like to see Scorpio Sky defend the TNT title against at Double or Nothing in May? Assuming he's still champion.
That's a big if. I mean, I think we kind of predicted that this was going to happen, right? Like that Scorpio was going to lose, but then end up not losing because MJF was going to interfere. And
we did predict that.
So I'm not shocked at it at all. I was actually kind of disappointed about how predictable it was. I would have liked to have seen. Honestly, I didn't. It's difficult because I love Scorpio and I want to see him have this run. They got to get him out of top team, and I just hate Dan Lambert.
And Paige Van Zant's partner, boyfriend, husband. Why is he there? Why is he choking out Wardlow?
I don't know, because he's not signed. He's just there to be there. It doesn't make any sense. Where is Ethan Page? Like, right. We're gonna give an unsigned non-contract person time. Maybe Page put it in her contract that he's there. I don't know, or maybe it's Lambert and part of his deal.
I know the guy makes out with his wife Paige Van Zant in front of Wardlow, and Wardlow's just distracted. Like, I think Wardlow's a bit smarter than this, based on how they've presented him.
They made Wardlow look like an absolute dumbass in this whole thing.
Shawn Spears comes out and he's just transfixed by the thought of getting revenge on Spears and just stares at him for 30 seconds while a defeated Scorpio Sky's in the ring.
I want to turn over to you,
but I think we're pretty aligned on this.
It's absolutely stupid. So Scorpio looked bad because he got manhandled. And then he jumped on him at the end when everybody was beating on him. And I know it's to get like heel heat or whatever, but this was not the way to do it. This sucked. Wardlow killed him, deserves to be champ.
Great powerbomb symphony.
Yeah. I just have such a hard time with this. The refs looked dumb. Wardlow looked dumb. Scorpio looked weak. Nobody looks good from this. I hated it, but I enjoyed the match for what it was. It's just, I knew what the outcome was going to be. It was so predictable, and it bummed me out. I know it should make what happens when Wardlow and MJF go head to head much sweeter, because MJF is going to get killed, just absolutely murdered. And I think it'll be at Double or Nothing, and I think it'll be for a contract. It'll be that whole thing.
Yeah.
Even though
we finally get the Wardlow graphic on Twitter. Wardlow is all elite.
Yep. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, even though we know he's been signed there for a while. It doesn't matter. I think it'll be cool if we see Wardlow, MJF. Honestly, I'm looking forward to Spears Wardlow. Make it a no DQ match, and then Spears just has chairs. And
that may be a future Dynamite main event.
Yeah. If it gets us the Spears entrance, I'm happy with it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think anyone walked away from this looking good. I, like you, am such a fan of Scorpio and Wardlow that I just enjoyed seeing them in the ring. This was a really intriguing matchup to me, even though I feared the outcome would be what it was.
Right.
I just thought it was so ridiculous. Everything that we mentioned about Wardlow getting distracted, and I really feel like AEW doesn't do this often of of booking their baby faces to be so absurdly dumb.
Yeah.
You know, like music plays and the baby face is transfixed by it, or someone comes out and then the baby face is rolled up. I just can't stand dumb baby faces. But for us to believe that MJF pushes Wardlow into the post, right? And then throws him in. Wardlow is just totally like just really damaged, if you will, really hurt. And then Scorpio rolls him up 1, 2, 3. I thought Wardlow's like a Greek god. He gets defeated by that. No chair shot. I know the chair shot happened after the match, but no chair shot. No, I don't even think MJF used the Dynamite Diamond ring.
Not until after.
Before the pin.
Yeah.
So Wardlow just gets pushed into the post, thrown in, and that we don't. I don't know if this is physically possible. I'm sure it is because Scorpio's a strong dude, but we don't even get a TKO from Scorpio. Just a roll up. Yeah. I thought it was absurd, Brad. I was pacing around the crib. I was so upset at this. Happy that Scorpio retains, but like you, I did not like this match. I didn't like the booking of this match. It really felt. To me, it felt like the worst of WWE was seen in this match in AEW. Yeah. In terms of my second question to you, I'm really excited about what this could mean for Scorpio at Double or Nothing, assuming he keeps the title, which I hope he does, because I want to see him bring the title into their LA show this summer. I'm curious. I'm going to pass it to you for the second part. Who would you like to see Scorpio face next?
I don't know.
At the pay-per-view.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Everybody seems to be doing something right now, or doesn't seem worthy of getting a shot.
Is Andrade too off the wall? That wouldn't make
Andrade would make a ton of sense, but
he needs to.
No,
hold gold, man.
I don't know if it will. Maybe, but didn't Andrade's just sort of a mercenary? He's already done stuff. Didn't he already do stuff with Top Team? Like I thought he did stuff with Top Team and got paid by Dan Lambert or somebody.
Yeah, he's been affiliating with a few different people.
Yeah, most recently was Pinnacle, and
I just feel like that dude needs to hold gold sooner than later.
Yeah,
the dude walks out and he's money. My God, the way that dude wears a suit.
I would love to. I'd rather see him get the TNT title or the world belt, but I wouldn't hate him taking it off of Ricky Starks either. Andrade would make that FTW belt matter. Right now, I don't think it matters. Ricky Starks has it, but I don't care. Like, that belt doesn't matter. It's the 24/7 title. It matters nostalgically. And remember how much it ruled when Taz debuted it? Yeah. And gave it to Brian Cage, and then he lost it and disappeared from the company forever, even though he got re-signed. Remember that time?
I do.
Where the hell is Brian Cage?
I also like the nameplate when they are the FTW champion, how it has that orange.
It's great.
It's great. Yeah, it's different.
It's a great belt, but I don't care about it. So
when Hook wins it, though, I think you and I are gonna dedicate serious GI time to it.
But they gotta build that, and they haven't been building.
Probably 2023.
They've been building great feuds and great storylines. I think people can criticize their storylines. It's like it doesn't have to be complicated. It's just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not a storyline. Like this Powerhouse Hobbs Keith Lee stuff, and now Powerhouse Hobbs Ricky Starks Keith Lee Swerve Scott. Swerve Strickland, excuse me.
I don't have that as a question for you today, but
I mean, good Lord.
I am so excited for that. Please sign me up. Give me all the tickets.
I don't have a formal question here, but this was the end of Rampage. What was going through your head when you saw all of the people involved at the end of Rampage?
Yeah. I love how we're touching on a few different.
Yeah.
This is really just a loaded GI.
Yeah.
First, I want to say that the idea of Swerve versus Scorpio at Double or Nothing is very intriguing to me. I think that's I think that's really soon for a new signing to get a match. But I love Swerve Strickland. Man, when we saw the end of Rampage and the talents that were in the ring, I really thought back to our conversation a few months ago with Dr. Tanisha Singleton of the I Have Questions podcast, fellow 90 Media Group family member. And our discussion about representation in the company. And I know it's a very nuanced topic and not something we can properly discuss in the next 4 to 5 minutes of this episode, but man, I think the concerns we had back then, to me, it seems like they're very much being addressed, particularly in the men's division. It seems like lately we've seen so many black wrestlers on our screen in prominent positions. So I was just euphoric about it, bro. Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, Swerve Strickland, Keith Lee, and then before that, the Acclaimed.
Yes.
And we know Anthony Bowens is a member of the LGBTQ community.
Yep.
Dante Martin, his brother's back.
Max
the list
Caster,
just goes on.
just-
Jade is arguably the biggest star in the company.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a stretch. Hangman Page, Adam Cole. I think Jade's right up there.
Jade's right up there.
She's right up there. She's total presence. I was just euphoric about it and just happy that I know it's maybe in style to go on Twitter and criticize and keep holding Tony Khan's feet to the fire, which I think there's validity in us doing that. We need to hold him accountable, and shouldn't just forget his response to Big Swole and how much of a terrible look it was. But we weren't getting this 3 or 4 months ago, Brad,
right.
And now we are, and that makes me incredibly hopeful for the future in this company. How about you? That was a very long soliloquy.
No, I totally agree with you. I think the captain, Sean Dean.
Salute.
Absolutely. Salute. He has been saying on Twitter, trying to say like, hey, just wait, just have patience. We're working on things behind the scenes. You don't see it all. It's not all going to come to fruition right away, but there are definite plans. We're trying to diversify. We're trying to do all these things. And nobody believed him because some people saw it as a defense of Tony Khan and his comments rather than a defense of what they have planned long term. Because I don't know that everybody is privy to that outside of a few people, but we'll look at the end of that match. And I was watching it. I was actually watching it this morning and finishing it this morning. And Jess was in the room and she was like, "What's going on?" Because I was so happy. And I told her, I was like, everybody kept saying, "Wait, it's coming. Something's coming. We're going to see a change here." And it just struck me because I was just watching all of this stuff unfold and I was like, oh man, the idea of Swerve and Keith together, oh my God, that's going to be so great. Yes. And then I realized
another potential tag team. Yeah.
And I was like, they look great together. And then they looked out and I saw everybody outside of the ring and I was like, wait a second. This is a big moment. This is a big deal. And I don't know that people will play it up as a big deal, but it was a big deal. And I thought it was incredibly cool. The other thing that I loved about it is think about all the talent that were in the ring. Now I know Swerve just got out of WWE, really on the main roster for a cup of coffee, and did you see not Diamond Mine, Hit Row?
Yes,
United.
Yes, yeah. So good in the ring. They did their pose and I mean how you release that group or don't see the value, the sheer profit they could add to your company. Yeah. Unbelievable. I did see that clip and I liked it.
Yes. So good. So aside from Swerve and Keith, everybody else is homegrown. And Swerve, for the time that he was there, I can't not consider him a homegrown talent or at least an indie star, simply because he was there for such little time. Where Keith Lee was there for a much longer period of time. Mm-hmm. Most of his career happened outside of WWE. So it's just really cool to see all of that. Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, the Acclaimed, all outside of the ring, facing off against the two guys. And just thought it was great. I loved everything about that, man.
Yeah, you're right, though. It really was a huge moment that went largely under the radar. That's a big deal. Yeah, we were not getting this for the first 3 years of the company. Just a lot of white dudes at the top. Jericho, Omega, Moxie, again, phenomenal talents. Hangman, we love Hangman. Love his gear at the pay-per-view. Florida, Ron DeSantis, concerning, major heel. But we didn't have those talents, those black wrestlers in particular, in prominent roles. And man, I'm just getting giddy thinking about your reaction and just reliving Rampage. Rampage for me has really been hitting all the right notes. I would say the past 3 weeks.
Yes,
everything is hit for me, especially this week. Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet.
That was fun.
The main event you mentioned. I mean, it's just
Darby Butcher.
Yes, Darby versus Butcher. Snug City.
Wow, it was snug. Yeah.
Every Rampage.
Murphy's Law. That Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law. I knew I was forgetting something.
That finish. The finish from that match, good lord.
That finish was nuts.
Yes, it was one of the craziest
and then the
things
Murphy's
I've ever
Law into Fuego.
Yes. Fuego
I love this so much.
Fuego might be the company's best seller.
Yes. And his babyface moment. Phenomenal.
That knee he took, though. Well, yeah, when he was going in there and beating them all up and Jericho was yelling stupid things on commentary. So I do want to talk about the very end of it, but that when Buddy caught him in the face on that counter, that looked like he just caught him in the face. I was looking to see if he was dead, and I know he was doing the thing where he was selling it, but man, he got hit snug. That was a flush knee to the face. It was the very end of Rampage. Do you remember what the last words were while it went off the air?
Was it, and that's entertainment?
Oh my God, just kill me. Yeah. Chris Jericho, and that's entertainment. And he said it like that. He's got to do that. It's entertainment, pal. Why does he have to turn into Bugs freaking Bunny? Like, God. Oh, I just hate it so much. I hate it so much. But I know other things that I hate that you don't hate. Tyler, it's time for an update. I couldn't think of
you popped yourself.
Yes, I did. It's time for an update on The Bachelor. It is now time for another edition, I think the season's final edition, of a rose from Tyler. Let's go.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
Let's go, indeed. So, you're right, Brad. This is the season finale. We gotta figure out what we're gonna do. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do for next week since I can't have this.
Good call.
Bachelor in Paradise is a thing, but you'll be surprised I actually don't watch that. I just like.
Me either. We have something in common there.
We do have something in common. Yeah. So I try to stick to this 5 minutes or less. We'll start this invisible timer. Here we go. 2-night finale last week. So much happened, Brad. Clayton broke up. He had 3 women left. He had Susie, he had Rachel, and Gabby. He met with Rachel and Gabby and broke up with them.
I had to do it.
Amazing. Clayton broke up. He got a lot of heat on the internet because he broke up with Rachel, the aspiring pilot from Florida, and Gabby, the ICU nurse from Denver, at the same time, which from what I read is pretty unprecedented in Bachelor history. These women met his family. They rode with him. And he just broke up with them at the same time. Didn't pull them aside, didn't have the personal, just, here you go. I love Susie. My heart's with her. I wish you both the best in your future endeavors. So both of them were very upset. I encourage our listeners and our viewers to, and my co-host here, I encourage you all to YouTube Gabby and Clayton's moment, because Gabby walked away, Clayton went and found her, and Gabby cut an amazing promo on this guy. It's phenomenal. I'm gonna have to send it to you, Brad. Whether you watch it or not, doesn't matter. I'll be happy that I sent it to you, hoping that you check it out. She just lit this dude on fire. It was great. She was applauded around the world, online. Total boss. Rachel also gave Clayton her 2 cents, but the point here is that Clayton ended up basically proposing to Susie. So he chose Susie, the wedding videographer from Virginia. Brad, I believe this is also a first time ever. He proposed to her in Iceland, and she said no. She broke up with him at the altar, essentially, quote unquote. First time that's ever happened, from what I've been told. So just drama everywhere, bro. Just everywhere. And by the end of the 2-night finale, we learned, because 4 months have passed since the shooting till this After the Rose finale recap, where cast members are back, families are there, their audience members, right? Time has elapsed. 4 months have passed, and we learned, Brad, that Susie took Clayton back. They mended things. They started talking. They just sort of went away from the show and just sort of rekindled a friendship. And it turns out they're back together. And they said they love each other on the After the Rose. So Clayton leaves with the love of his life. Susie loves him back. And Brad, I must tell you, we know who our next bachelorettes are going to be. We are going to get Rachel. I know you're excited about this. I am too. We're going to get Rachel and Gabby. And I think this is also a first time ever. They're going to be 2 bachelorettes in the same season. So to spice up the franchise, they're going to have 2 contestants, or 2 women in this case, vying for love. So we have no idea what this is going to look like, but they are huge baby faces. The internet is rooting for them, and this was so great, man. I am sad that you missed this last week. But Clayton found love, and we can all move on with our lives.
And thank God for that. So I was just, I just pulled up a clip. I found it. It's
Okay.
Gabby won't even let Clayton, is it Eckhart?
Clayton, yeah.
Walk
Eckerd, yeah.
walk her
I think
out.
that's it. Yes,
And-
that's it. Because Clayton asks,
Yeah.
well, can I walk you out? And Gabby says, no, and leaves.
I mean, this
Boss.
guy looks like an absolute slack-jawed caveman. I'm looking at him here. He's just.
Yeah, he's. Yeah,
Is he a good dude? Is he?
it's complicated.
Okay, so no, got it.
I think at the start of the season, people were pretty hopeful, and I really think, frankly, Brad, the conversation even now is that Clayton is not a bad dude, but this show, this finale showed us that he has some blind spots, man, and he just made some really poor decisions in how he ended this. So not a bad guy, but a bit oblivious.
It's like Thanos. Got it.
Like Thanos.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready for my question 2. Thank you for the update. The final one.
Let's go. I think, yeah, is this question 2 or question 3?
It's question 2 from me.
Oh, snap.
I have not asked my second question an hour and 5 minutes in. All right, here we go.
There we go.
Oh boy.
Let's do it.
Also, I apologize for the timer going so long. Once I turned it on, I was kind of committed to it. I really wanted to see if we could set it for 5 minutes, but then I realized it became an overlay. So I was like, all right, well, he's just playing this.
Embrace the mess.
This shitty StreamYard music. Just whatever.
It's like Kahoot, but worse.
Yes, it absolutely felt like it. There is one Kahoot song that sounds like the second level of Super Mario Brothers 3, and no, I won't explain myself. Question 2. Cody is headed to WrestleMania and is signed with WWE. On a conference call in 2017, Cody Rhodes stated how grateful he was for WWE and how he wouldn't have found any success without them. But he also stated that it has been more financially lucrative without them. Okay, since kayfabe is dead, and we know professional wrestling to be sports entertainment, combat theater, etc. I want you to imagine that you are the promoter now. You have unlimited spending. How would you go about contracts and benefits? So the genesis of this was Cody left to get more money, but Cody left initially because he wasn't happy with the booking and stuff, and he ended up getting more money. So he's now going to be not in control of all of his earnings. It's going to be part of that corporate deal that they do where they're independent contractors, but they don't have independent contracting rights. So if you were able to go about contracts and benefits, what would you do for each? Would you give them all the same pay? Would you sign them on tiered deals? How would you go about and do this?
Yeah.
It's a hard question.
That's a difficult but really great question. I love the research you always bring to these. I'm intrigued by the tier idea. To me, that makes a lot of sense because I don't think by any means everyone can get paid the same because certainly there are talents that draw more than others. So I would go tiered.
CM Punk and Fuego del Sol are not the same wrestler.
Yeah, they're probably not.
Same
we love
draw.
them both,
Same
but probably
draw.
not. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably not making the same income.
Yeah.
What's really important to me, and I always worry I'm sounding like a complete AEW shill, but what's really important to me is the benefits, Brad. The fact is I've gotten older and watched a few episodes of John Oliver on HBO. The fact that in the WWE they're seen as independent contractors is just really upsetting to me. Considering how much they give in the ring for our entertainment. So benefits would be a must, and
Yeah.
and they're employees of you. If they're putting their bodies on the line, if they're doing all they do for us for entertainment, period, they need to be employees. They need to be taken care of. I would even argue after their careers are over. We've had a lot of discussions about the late Razor Ramon or
Right.
Scott Hall. And, sometimes when people retire, particularly in this business, it's not just easy. It's not the cliche of rainbows and butterflies. People really, really struggle with various things, with mental health, with addiction, so on and so forth. So I'm going to go with the tiered, but benefits are a must. I don't know if we're ever going to have a union in professional wrestling, but that's something that it's easy for me to say this because I'm not a promoter and I don't own my own wrestling company, but I think I'm really intrigued by the idea of a union. I think you need to take care of the people you employ, and the independent contractor status just bothers me, man. So yeah, with Cody, it's I think it's a case where we know he's going to come in on probably a pretty fat contract, and I think the dude has earned it. I don't think that's a slight against him or he should get heat because of that. He knows his worth, and hopefully WWE is going to be paying him that and will utilize him properly. I know I fit a lot into that, but did any of it make sense, and how would you go about this if you were a promoter / owner?
Yeah, it made a ton of sense, man. Like that's something that I thought we were going to see sooner than later, given, was it 2 years ago now, Yang's comments on Talk is Jericho about trying to push for a wrestling union. Even
Yes.
Joe Biden finding the idea of independent contractors insane. Nothing's been done with that, but I'm not surprised either. I'm down on politicians. Just lots of talk, no action. It seems to be the way things are. Unless it's action that hurts people, then it seems to happen really quickly. So I think I'm with you. I think the benefits thing especially, and that's not to say I don't know anything about benefits when it comes to wrestling contracts. It's why I've tried to get people on here who have totally no-sold me in the DMs. I don't feel bad about saying that. They're not listening, obviously. Yeah, I'm thinking of you, Joe. Anyway, I don't know enough about contracts to know, or labor laws or anything of the other stuff to say who's to say Tony Khan doesn't have something written in there that all medical expenses will be taken care of by AEW if a ring injury happens, or if it happens during a observed or sanctioned training activity. Like if you're doing your workout and posting it on IG and you're doing it in your garage at your house and something breaks there and you get injured, I don't know if that's covered, because what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for work? Because technically that would be workman's comp if you were anywhere else. So I'm not really sure how that works. Do they have retirement packages for these guys? Do they have education programs to teach them about like saving and longevity? Pro wrestling works a lot different than professional sports like the NFL, but I know the NFL now has programs to help younger players manage their money and to save, because they know their careers aren't going to last that long. And there's the very real possibility. We've seen a few people, Big E, the most recent person, but Lance Archer and a few others land on their head and break their neck. And the very real possibility of death or paralysis or just long-term pain is there. Like you can lose partial function in your arms and all kinds of stuff. Are they going to be taken care of? And at that point, what skills do they have? They'd have to go back and do something else. Do they have the means to do that? I have so many questions about those kinds of things where, you think about the guys that are in the indies. We talked to Santi, I think in February, beginning of February. And he was talking about when he started working at Taco Bell, and I know a lot of the independent wrestlers are still doing that. They're working second jobs or first jobs, I should say. And I don't know. So I guess this is a long way to get to, I think, tiered contracts, tiered salaries based on experience and simply drawing power. But I would try to make that as qualitative as humanly possible. I would base that on data, and I would want to be able to explain to a person or a group of individuals, here's what I think, here's what I know, here's why I'm offering what I'm offering. And making sure that everybody is taken care of and it's in writing. It's not just, we're going to take care of you.
Not
I
a
know.
handshake agreement.
No, absolutely. But I also want to make sure that there's clauses built in where if you, like, to answer your question from like 2 weeks ago, can you separate the art from the artist, which I think about every day. I was watching the most recent Transformers movie, which was 2014, which I can't believe. And it is ass. But I was watching it because it's still Transformers.
I haven't seen it since Shia LaBeouf and Megan
Yeah.
Fox. Do you remember when Megan Fox was like the biggest deal?
Yes.
And Shia was too.
Yes.
Quite frankly.
Gone.
Anyway, nostalgia.
It was the Mark Wahlberg gratuitous shot from Michael Bay of a very short, long-legged female teenager.
Yeah.
Always. It's Michael Bay, so you know there's going to be nonsensical things. Shit's going to blow up and hit the camera, and it'll look visually too gritty to be pretty, but too pretty to look gritty all at the same time. It was Age of Extinction, and Kelsey Grammer was in it, and it's one of those deals where I really like Kelsey Grammer. I really like him as an actor. I think he's very good, but I also I don't agree with anything he thinks. So it's one of those deals where I know he's been kind of blacklisted in Hollywood because of his political ideologies, but it's also but he's good at his job. Don't you want people that are good at their jobs? Just having an opinion is not the same.
Frasier.
Yeah.
I think he had a hand in a show called Girlfriends that
he was in X-Men. He was in.
Yeah, he has his own. Yeah, exactly.
He's done a bunch of stuff, and I like him just fine. There's a couple of other actors too that I liked, and then it's like you follow them down the trail and you find out they're just like Val Venus in real life, and it's like, man, do I want that on my screen? Do I want to support anything like that? But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, they're really good. It's still how I feel about Chris Jericho. This choose your narrative stuff, man. I've never actively rooted for a company to fail before, but I am actively rooting at this company to fail. I hope it implodes. I don't want people to lose their jobs, but I don't really want these people to have one. So I have a hard time with that.
I remember, all I'll add here is that I remember tagging you in an article when the news first broke, maybe a month or two ago, about formerly Braun Strowman and EC3 starting their own company. And I think I tagged you in maybe the eyes emoji, oh, this is more wrestling, okay? But my God, has that just had a precipitous downfall. It's really feels like a bad SNL skit. It doesn't feel real.
No, it does. It looks like a parody of itself.
A total parody.
Doesn't
I
make
have no idea what's
sense.
going on. I have no interest in following it. Yuck.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Cringe. Yeah, major cringe.
Truly awful. But I guess that's our moment, man. That's our moment. So I'm gonna segue into what is it your favorite segment of the week? Is that the one?
It is it's my favorite segment of the week. Absolutely. It is the one, the only Someday When You Have Kids.
Boo.
And now it's time for
I'm crazy.
Someday
Someday.
When You Have Kids.
You're crazy.
Let's go. So last week I talked about tiny tools, tiny things for kids, having to get a scoop, having to get a shovel, all of that stuff. And rather than do something new, I'm going to update. So I do have one already for next week. I already came up with one while we were talking earlier. I was like, oh, that's right. This would be a good one. Yeah,
Nice.
it's a good one. So we're ready to go for next week. But we spent my spring break and Jess took a week off to do the backyard basically. But there was a period in the day. If it were like today or yesterday, we could have done all of it in one day, but it was not. It was in the 80s and sunny and oppressive heat in the afternoon. It was, I got some sunburn. I got some, my neck is torched. I tried to even it out by taking the shirt off for a while, but I'm pretty sure I just blinded the neighbors, and I saw satellites rerouting because they were confused. It was very pasty and reflective in the backyard, and we did a lot. And Freya helped. The kid was out there. We we're looking for dust masks to wear in the backyard, and not mine. I had already put mine on. I bought a tiller. Didn't work very well at all. Bro, Arizona dirt is not it. It is just
It hits different.
it's like tilling the sidewalk. It's just absolute concrete. Speaking of, I was digging up concrete. There's just chunks of stucco and random brick. It looked like parts of an old road just in the backyard everywhere. It's crazy. But Freya was helping. So, Tyler, someday when you have kids, you're going to have a project and the kids are going to be involved. The younger they are, I think, the less productive they'll be. The less complaining you're going to have, but the less productive they're going to be. And Freya was out there with her big scoop. She was out there with like, it's one of those like plastic red snow shovels. It's a plow shovel.
Yeah.
And
I have one of those.
awesome. And she was trying to scoop up the rocks and put them into a big sifter that we had to sift out all the dirt, get the big rocks out. And it was great. She was struggling, and she just wanted to scoop and throw and scoop and throw. Mm-hmm. Tyler, someday when you have kids, you're going to redo a lot of work because they're going to undo all of your work, and you're going to let them because they're having fun. I watched that girl take all of the rocks that we had just piled up and start throwing them back into the dirt after we had sifted them out, only to have to re-sift them. It didn't happen a lot, but then we had to talk to her, stop doing that. Please stop doing that. We're trying to get the rocks out to, that's permission for me to use the dirt, and started throwing the dirt out of the area we needed the dirt and throwing the dirt onto the rocks. She made a nest, a bed. I think I sent you the picture, in an enormous pile of rocks. It was the rock pile that we had was about 6 or 7 feet wide and 3 feet tall. I don't know how many pounds of rock that is, but I know it's a lot. And it was something to behold. But she had a blast, man. She had so much fun out there. And now it's the part where we got to block it all off. We got a fence. We got to put it up and keep the dog out and Freya out for 6 to 8 weeks while the grass grows. We're going to be planting, I think, tonight. We'll see, maybe tomorrow. And someday when you have kids, you'll get to experience this joy as well. It was so much fun getting to watch her do this and just get to have fun and want to be involved and be a part of it. So she gets to have ownership over that thing, and it's pretty cool. And someday when you have kids, you'll get to experience that as well.
I love that. I saw Jess tweeted out a photo of her and Freya, and I think it said "my DIY partner."
Yep.
Man, I love that. I love that. Of course, going on trips and doing lavish things over a break is fun, but it seems like you and Jess. Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
For those of you on YouTube, actually, I love this shot right now of me holding the phone up and I'm in like shadowy figure in the background. This actually rules.
Very edge on Raw. Like,
Yeah,
man. I just love that. That was really a main point of your break, right? Was working on that backyard. That I know it's been on your mind.
That's all we did.
As well as spending time with your girls.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best. Pictures need to be sent out to me, to Twitter. Please keep us updated on this project.
It'll happen. We have a long way to go, but I'm stoked about the future. We got planters today. This week, I think we're going to start leveling the patio. Then we're going to put it in. Really pumped about it. Create a pathway. Get irrigation around the yard. That's already there, but we got to like redistribute and bury. Maybe get a new tree or two. I really want a citrus tree in the backyard, or like a fig or an avocado tree or something. But I think we're going to go lemons or grapefruit. That's my guess. But I'm just stoked to have my own yard, and I can be anything we want it to be, man. Anything we want it to be.
Exactly.
I do not recommend doing the rock moving. If I had time to do this over, I would have hired somebody to do this because it capital S sucked. But I'm glad we're not doing it in the summer. So really, really grateful that I can say that I had to do that at a place that I own. That's trying to remember. That's
goal for you. Yep.
Yes. To do it before I'm 40. But if we don't move on to the next question, I will turn 40 before the end of the podcast.
Yeah. Yes. And I will turn 30 with my copious amounts of toys, action figures, collectibles.
Big time bets.
I'm gonna give you this question just straight up, man. I've been thinking about it a lot. I think I sent it to you in some form over the past week, but I don't think we really hashed it out. Is Brandon Cutler the best comedy wrestler in the business right now?
Man.
Because I know you have love for some other people out there.
Yeah, Danhausen, Orange Cassidy.
Yes.
Maki Ito, actually. Maki Ito does not get enough love. I retweeted one of her things today. The fact that she has such a foul mouth and does her hilarious sideways headbutt thing as a finisher. Give me that all day long. I hope we get more Maki Ito in AEW. I love her. There's a lot of Japanese wrestlers, women's wrestlers in particular, that all have that same schoolgirl gimmick that I don't need a lot of that. There's too much of that already. I can't tell those gimmicks apart, but Maki Ito stands out so much. It's sort of like the American white dude, I'm wearing trunks and I'm buff wrestler, and my gimmick is I'm attractive. There's so many of those at the same time. It's like I don't need a lot of those because people are going to get lost in the sauce. So
Yeah, it's actually.
But Maki Ito stands out because she's hilarious. I love it. That being said, I think it has to be Brandon Cutler right now.
Yes.
It has to be.
Let's go. I agree.
But
He's
think
so
about
good.
what he was. He was not a comedy wrestler, man.
No.
He had the suit of armor and the
Dungeons
war
and
paint.
Dragons, super fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was he looked awesome. And now he's wearing a tracksuit and he's wearing the shield and has the spray, and he's so lanky and tall, especially in that tracksuit, that makes him look just like an absolute dork. It's pitch perfect what he's doing. It's so good. I don't know if Brandon Cutler gets the love he deserves for what he's been doing, but he deserves all of his flowers. I
amazing.
love him.
Yeah.
Absolutely yes, Brandon Cutler.
Perfect.
Your thoughts?
That's all I needed. I'm just gonna say I agree with you. He is gold. I'm a huge fan.
Awesome. All right. Last question from me. Who in AEW or WWE or wherever, male, I'm going to say male or female, but if you want to, you can do male and female, most enjoys saying the following after cutting their grass: I love the smell of freshly cut grass. Who in AEW, WWE, or otherwise, after mowing their lawn, says, I love the smell of freshly cut grass?
I need to ask, am I missing context of this?
Not at all.
Okay. I feel like I missed something.
If you want context, I can say that
no.
this is very, very similar to the Keith Lee Looks Like game that's been happening, which is amazing.
I have an automatic answer for you. It must be QT Marshall. Right? Also, someone I'm a fan of who I think plays this part perfectly.
Oh, yes.
It's QT. Period.
QT is such a good answer.
It has to be, right? In the
Man.
bowling shirt. Remember our colleagues at Marana? That was a thing for a few years, the Marana High School bowling shirts for the English department. I always think about that when I see QT.
Yeah.
Who are you rolling with for this?
Cameron Grimes. I'm going Cameron Grimes. I feel like that dude, like the real life Cameron Grimes.
Yeah.
QT Marshall is a much better answer than Cameron Grimes, but that's who I initially had. Because I get to see that dude going, yeah, I love the smell of freshly cut grass.
Yes.
And then just sort of walking proudly away. But I can also absolutely see, maybe not those words, but I can also see Keith Lee doing it. Like, I don't know, there's something about him just
looks
getting
a little
done.
different, but
I don't think he says anything. I think Keith Lee simply does this with his hands and walks inside. I think he does the 2-clap dust off of his hands
for sure,
and goes into the house.
For sure.
I can absolutely see that.
I agree with you. Man, that was a great question. I love ending our questions on that note. That was very lighthearted and surprising. Very surprising.
That's why I told you weren't going to see it.
No.
It's out of nowhere. Out of the blue.
Man, looking at our agenda here, I really think, or not agenda, but sort of our logistics for our episode, I think we've covered a lot, bro. In terms of what we missed from the week, we already touched on Cody a bit. There are some new WWE recruits headlined by Roxy, Santino Marella's daughter. I think her name's Bianca. I should have typed that down, written that down to put some.
I didn't
respect
catch
on her
that,
name.
but I saw Roxy.
Roxy, yeah. So it's intriguing, man. There's a bunch of dudes on that list as well. I shared a moment of gratitude earlier to start the episode. Grateful for this position, grateful for you, and grateful for our listeners, of course, always. Anything you would like to finish this episode with, Brad?
I'm trying to think of like anything wrestling related other than, you know what I'm grateful for?
Yeah.
I'm obviously, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for all of the cool stuff I get to do around the house. Like legitimately excited about creating an outdoor living space since we're going to be here a lot. Poor as shit because this house cost way more than it was probably worth. It's looking forward to what's coming up. I know you and I have very briefly brought up some plans, committed to them, but never planned them, for some future episodes, some special stuff leading up to WrestleMania.
Yes.
I'm actually stoked for WrestleMania. As much as I hate it, I also love it. It's one of those deals where it's like, okay, the Super Bowl this year, nobody wanted to see Rams Bengals except for Rams fans and Bengals fans. Not a single person in America was like, oh, this is great, the Rams and the Bengals, unless you were a fan of
give us the
those
halftime show.
Give us the halftime show.
Right.
That being said, I watched the whole game and I loved it.
Yeah.
It was great. It was dramatic. I'm still gonna tune in. I watched that Transformers bullshit today. It was 2 hours and 45 minutes, bro. It's way too long for a movie like that.
It's almost as long as a GI episode.
Yes, this one will be.
Yes.
It wasn't any good. I still watched it. Why? It's Transformers. WrestleMania is going to have some of the best moments of the year and some of the most trash, cringy moments of the year. They're going to go, we don't have enough women in this match, so let's give this really stupid tag team match with Natalya and Tamina against somebody else that's not supposed to be a tag team, as we eliminate all of our women's tag teams from the company. I know we're going to get that. We're going to get like, that's a box-like structure. We're going to get stuff that doesn't make any sense. And then we're going to get Bianca and Sasha. We're going to get Roman, Edge, Daniel Bryan. We're going to get like all of these great things. I don't remember if that was it WrestleMania when they had the trios match? I can't remember. I think it was.
That was.
Okay.
Bad Bunny last year.
Bunny.
When celebrity appearances go really right.
Yeah.
Canadian Destroyer to John
Morrison. I was going to say some independent wrestler named John Morrison.
Johnny, not Johnny Mundo. I think he's probably going by something now.
Yeah. I know we're going to get some great stuff. Braun Strowman killing Shane through a cage then getting released. We're going to get baffling stuff. We're going to get
Cesaro
great stuff.
versus Seth Rollins.
Oh my God. That was so good.
Banger.
That was such a great match.
Again, this is now with the hindsight. Sorry to cut you off, but Cesaro really getting his long overdue moment.
And then
that's amazing
released.
as a wrestling fan. And then, unfortunately, less than a year later, he's gone.
I don't know if we talked about this, and I know we're going to go long here, but where do you think he ends up? My prediction is New Japan.
Yeah. Part of me thinks that we have to see him in AEW in some form or fashion. Like, that dude is appearing. I don't know if it would just be a one-off or a short-time deal, but to know William Regal is there and he's building. We didn't even talk about this. What a busy week in wrestling. He's building this coalition of professional wrestlers. Maybe adding Wheeler Yuta to the mix.
Wheeler Yuta. We didn't even get to talk about that.
It was the week of Wheeler Yuta. To me, it seems like you bring in Cesaro in AEW and he's somehow a part of this. But I'll go with you, New Japan. It's just AEW is becoming so loaded that I worry, as a lot of fans do, he would kind of get lost in the shuffle. If he goes to Japan, if he were to make an appearance in Impact, I think that dude shoots up the card and is immediately a main event contender. Whereas in AEW, I think he's probably still more in that mid-card mix, unless he's involved in this Regal dojo, which I think would rule.
I can see him going in there and being an immediate contender. And just they have so much talent right now over there. It's an abundance of riches that I do feel like
Miro isn't back yet, and that dude needs to fight Hangman.
Yes,
for the title.
I hope he wins it. I want to see Miro with the title again, but we still haven't gotten a. Listen, I know Brian Cage isn't everybody's favorite, but I want to see him back in the ring because I want to see him fight Miro. They're so similar in size and style but yes, The kicks, dude.
Yes.
They'll kick each other into oblivion.
Yeah.
And give me that match. So there's so much going on there that I don't know where he ends up, but I would love to see him do New Japan stuff, throw in just really, really, really strong uppercuts on people. But I would also love to see him do that to people in AEW. Because Cesaro against Powerhouse Hobbs would be a lot of fun, I think. I would love to see him try to swing Hobbs around the ring, which I think he would do with ease. I still can't believe how unbelievably large of a human being Keith Lee is. When Powerhouse Hobbs goes up to him, and you're like, oh, that is a small person. It's like, oh my God.
I thought about that on Rampage.
Yes.
Hobbs looks just like a regular dude next to Keith Lee.
Swerve was up there, and Swerve, I don't know how big Swerve is. I don't know his height. Swerve.
I'm trying to find
it.
He's probably under 205, right?
He is 201, and he is 6'1", and he looked like a midget. He looked like the tiny person in the ring next to Keith Lee. Like Keith Lee literally looked twice his size.
Yeah, he's a one of
he
one.
Damn near is. Yes, he is.
Yeah, no one's like him.
I absolutely love it. So I just think there's so much potential there, but I also think their roster is just so loaded that I don't know if that would be a good landing place for him right now. But I do, like you, I want to see him do some stuff there, and I think he will. If they have this relationship going with Japanese promotions, we're gonna get to see Moxley and Ospreay.
Yes.
I don't necessarily want to go spend more money on stuff, but I'm probably gonna do it for that. That alone feels like worth the ticket.
I don't blame you. I'll just end with my final thoughts of WrestleMania. I know we've shared ad nauseum our issues with the booking and frankly our issues with some of the matches that are already booked on the card.
Right.
I don't know that I need to see Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn, even though it's not going to be a straight up wrestling match. There's going to be, I forget the exact stipulation, no DQ or whatever it is. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see.
It's going to be the whole Jackass crew there.
Yeah, and
beating up Sammy. And
I was about to say Pat McAfee. I actually think that one's probably going to be the best celebrity involvement.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to see one of the Paul brothers back for obvious reasons. But WrestleMania, I'm already feeling that excitement that you spoke to. It's the biggest event in wrestling every single year. It's 2 nights, which I actually enjoy. Yeah, man, that's something to look forward to. Like you said, we have a lot planned for GI from this recording up until that first weekend in April. I'm so stoked to see what we come up with, and I hope the fans of Gimmick Infringement will enjoy it as well. I think they will.
I think so too. I'm really excited, and we have a lot. We have a lot going on. Also, be on the lookout in the next. Well, I'm gonna put it out here in the next 2 weeks or so. There will be new material up on the website, so make sure you go to gimmickinfringementpod.com and check us out there. We have some pieces that are already up, and check it out. Support us. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. I'll try to remember to post there every once in a while. And
I'm on Instagram now, bro.
Wow,
I know.
That's amazing.
Can you believe it? It's a big deal for me. I'm out here.
I saw you follow me, and you messaged me saying I better follow back. And
I was getting nervous. It wasn't an immediate follow back. I was getting a little pensive.
I'm simply never on there, and I think that's a problem.
Fair.
Yeah, I got to get one of those apps that like let you do everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming when you think about all the apps and yeah.
Yeah, man. I think we're good though. I think great app, and looking forward to this week.
Yeah, absolutely enjoyed it. Speaking of plugs, you can follow Brad at Winduster. I am at Tyler J. McDowell. The pod is on Twitter at GIPod19. And finally, we got to show love to the people that give us this platform. You can follow 19 Media Group at 19M Group, and they are also at 19mediagroup.com. We thank you all so much for your support. We hope you enjoyed this one as much as we did. I think this is by far an episode that I've laughed the most on. I had a blast. We hope all of you did too, and we definitely hope to see you on the next episode. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.